our project from Winchester is called Positive Pairings and aims to support younger women in their career development plans through a mentoring programme facilitated by the members of our club. We looked a little bit, we started by looking at some of the data around this, and what's really interesting to see is that in the last 10 to 15 years, the female workforce in this country is growing substantially. There are, let me give you some of the figures because they're just off the screen. There are 2 million more women in work since 2010, and about 39% of those are in high-skilled jobs. There are 25% more women in top management roles, and there are 40% more women in professional occupations. This includes occupations such as STEM, engineering, etc. And all of that is really encouraging. And there is also a significant growth of younger women moving into employment each year, around 8% each year. That's all data from the Office for National Statistics. So that's very encouraging, you would think. However, despite this, there is still a real lack of women being able to progress in careers, in particular in management roles. So what we can see from data collected by organisations such as LinkedIn, and that graph is a little bit difficult to see, but as you progress through a management career up into more executive and senior roles, the number of women continues to drop. And there are a couple of just small references here that only 30% of management roles typically are held by women. And in FTSE 100 companies, female representation on board, despite all of the work that goes into encouraging that presence and representation, is still only at 39%. So clearly it's still an ongoing issue. So what are the factors that discourage women from progressing? Well, they're quite varied. The first one sounds really daft, but is really obvious. You can't be what you can't see. So if you actually don't have a presence of female leaders and role models in the sector in which you work or in the environment of the organisation in which you work, actually, how will you see what the opportunities are to progress? If it doesn't look like you, how do you relate to that? There's also quite a lot of evidence, again collected through LinkedIn, around promotion bias. And this is a really interesting one. This is evidence that suggests that actually women only progress by virtue of demonstrating experience, whereas men are quite often given the opportunity to progress by virtue of showing potential. And that's quite a substantial difference that really needs addressing in this and making sure that we can move forwards. And then typically there's a really practical one, which is actually career development for an awful lot of people happens when people are in their 30s and 40s, which of course is the age that women are looking to take time, and obviously that age is getting later, out for families and for time with their children. So that also is a very significant barrier to women really being able to progress. So our aims in terms of this project were to how can we respond to this, and what people have been telling us and what the data says is that actually what women need is support from networks that allow them to develop their career building skills, give them a direction, a plan, give them scope to understand where they might want to be, to build confidence. It's that simple. Most women, and I'm sure most of you will agree this here, at some point along the way suffer from imposter syndrome. And some of us still do every day, even when we're in highly successful careers. So what can we do to support younger women to build their confidence and to take their place and to use their voice and to really demonstrate their professional and personal value, and practically as well, to give them scope and the strength and the abilities and the skills to really progress their career, both from a personal development but also from a practical one in terms of negotiating their way forwards. Now, our club members obviously provide between them a real rich diversity of career, business, charity and volunteering expertise from many years at work or within local communities. So we were very keen to capitalise on that skill set and see what we can do in terms of how we could support younger women in the local area who are at an earlier stage in their careers and might benefit from a mentoring opportunity. So what we've been doing or starting to do, because this is a project that's still very much in growth, the first point has been a partnership with the Brendan Care Foundation. This is a charity that runs care homes, retirement living and community services for older people. Brendan Care's workforce is around 80% of women aged between 18 and 75, so it's a very broad range of colleagues. Those of you who attended the regional meeting earlier in the year at one of Brendan Care's homes at Otterbourne Hill will have a bit of a sense and a flavour of what Brendan Care does. Within an organisation like Brendan Care, we have colleagues working obviously in care, clinical areas, community engagement, volunteering, fundraising, finance, sales, marketing, marketing, HR, operations, administration, people management, hospitality, estates and property, IT, and more. So clearly there's people with a range of careers that they are looking to find ways to develop. And all of those colleagues have been actively telling Brendan Care that what they would like to see is a real building of their personal development as they go and as they work within Brendan Care. So what we're doing is, so far we've had 9 of our club members, and there are 20 of us at the moment, so nearly half of the club have volunteered to be mentors, and we've had 4 new club members join us this year, so they're becoming involved in this programme as it goes. The reason this project hasn't moved quite as quickly as we would like is it's taken us quite a long time to find training, specialist training, to deliver for both mentors and for mentees. We seek to do an evaluation process, so all mentees will be asked to complete a questionnaire that sets a baseline of where do they feel they are now in terms of their career and how that support and what would help to support them. And then we will do the same thing again at the end of the programme to get an understanding of how effective that mentoring programme has been for them and what they have benefited from it. And our intention is that each programme is a cyclical 6-month programme, so a meeting once a month between mentor and mentee. Those of you who have participated in any form of mentoring programme will know that it is very much mentee-led. It is very much up to the mentee to define what they need from that experience and that opportunity and to engage, therefore. And we will obviously seek to match mentees and mentors within the club. Other club members who didn't feel able to or confident or didn't feel they had the right skills, I suspect they probably all do, but anyway, who didn't want to be mentors are helping in lots of other ways, helping with the questionnaires, helping with the administration, helping with PR and promotion, and much more besides. And this is a programme that is going to continue to run. Our intention would be that, assuming that our first pilot is successful, that we will continue being able to offer mentoring, and it gives us the scope, should we choose to extend to further organisations in our local area, so we may be able to provide mentoring to local universities and other organisations who might benefit from it. And indeed, we may come looking for mentors from across the region in due course, should you be so inclined. So we're very keen to be able to progress this. It's very much a work in progress. As we haven't got audio, I'm not going to hit play, but this will be part of our video. I'll just finish by telling you briefly the story of Charlotte. Charlotte joined Brendan Care straight out of school, straight out of GCSEs as a care assistant, and she is now, 13 years later, the general manager of one of our most complex services at Brendan Care, supporting 64 people living with dementia and other complex care needs, as well as assisted living apartments, again designated for people living with dementia. And Charlotte has been able to progress through her career so far and continues to do so by virtue of peer support, by virtue of mentoring, coaching, and being able to draw on that skill set, and in turn is now in a position where she is able to repay that and support the people around her and provide similar support. So it is a virtuous circle in terms of what it allows women to do. And if you could see this little clip, what you would see is me asking Charlotte, what if I could ask her in one word to describe what having that opportunity of peer support has given her, and the word she used, with no prompting from me at all, was empowering. Without a doubt, empowering. Thank you very much.